in Houston. Rockets are not a great team this season, but they got one over on the Cavs. 117-103 was on Saturday night. Cavs are in Indianapolis tonight to play the Pacers. That's Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers for a 7 o'clock tip-off. 6:30 is when your pregame coverage will begin here on MMS. You want to get the full experience, you can also listen on the iHeartRadio app. March Madness is getting underway. There's some surprises in that. They announced UConn, #1 overall, playing out of the East. Houston, #1 in the South. Purdue, going to be first in the Midwest.
Got to sign up for our...
You going to do the bracket?
Oh, of course. It's so fun. So fun to see how bad I am at this every year.
You haven't had a good year in the office bracket?
No, not really.
Yeah. Well, it's usually...
I don't really follow college basketball, so I'm just kind of picking at random.
Well, I always think of it in terms of it's fun for people who are, and I think this probably constitutes most people if you have a bracket in your office. Most people are just throwing darts, right? Even if you have somehow figured out the science of how everything could go down, there really is no way to know. I mean, anybody who ends up with even close to a perfect bracket has just gotten unbelievably lucky. But there are people, I always think of the people who really try to apply their science and their data to figuring out their brackets, people who do a really deep dive. And that seems like way less fun because you're putting a lot of work in it, and you're probably not, your bracket's just as likely to get blown up as anybody else's.
But if you end up winning money, but also there are people that they enjoy that effort that they put into it. They like that research. They like crunching those numbers and being like, well, this team plays well on the road, or like whatever their strengths are. They like doing that analysis.
Kent State had a heartbreaker. Did you watch the Kent State-Akron game?
No.
You didn't see this?
I didn't see it, no.
You were busy rolling.
What day was
What
this?
the hell? This would have been on Saturday, I think.
Saturday.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't rolling on Saturday. Saturday was just...
whoever this dude was, he joins an unfortunate fraternity of massive sports blunders. A player this was Kent State versus Akron, and one of their players was not really paying attention to the score or the time, and he fouled one of the guys on Akron, and that he forced Kent State to lose the MAC championship game because of that. And when you look at NBA coaches, they'll scream and they'll yell and whatever, but you kind of have to take everything in stride. But a championship game like that, when they cut to the Kent State coach, there's 23 seconds left in the game at this point, and it's Akron's leading by 1. And when they cut over to the Kent State coach, I mean, this just guy's got his head in his hands, and he's yelling, and he just looks like he's going to burst into tears. So it was just one of these, this kid is going to think about this for the rest of his life. Because you work hard to get to this point, and then, dumb mistakes, if they're poorly timed, can really jam you up.
Best he can do is make it a 3-point game. Missed it short. Davis the rebound. And now Kent State can hold to win the MAC championship down by 1.
Solinger then on Cameron Davis. #1 in gold, or the man with the ball.
10 to shoot. Solinger in the lane. No. Hornby puts it up and in. 6 seconds ago, Kent State a 1-point lead.
So then so they get it up there. It's 61-60 Kent State. There's 4.8 seconds left in this championship game. And a guy on Kent State isn't really paying attention. He reaches out and fouls the dude from Akron, who proceeds to make both of his free throws.
Yeah. When they just had to...
drain the clock.
Yep.
Got that in. You win by 1. You got 4.8 seconds left.
You play good defense. You try and make them, they are going to get a shot off, but you want to get a shot off that's contested. Oof, that's a bummer.
And so then the Kent State coach, they cut right to him, and he's just
and a foul
beside himself. Look
No! Why is Rollins fouling?
This guy's like, I'm a basketball coach at Kent State, all right? I'm just trying to... You pulled the rug out from under me.
Julius Rollins did not know time and score. And fouled on the play. reached out and fouled.
Yeah, so there's a lot of rigmarole over that.
You got
and
to put it to bed. You got to rally your troops. You got to bring them back.
Sullinger for the win.
Anyway, it's a lot of watching, but the Akron Zips are the MAC tournament champions.
Go Zips.
Go Zips. That's Poundcake's
Zips.
alma mater. Because of that massive blunder there on the part of that player there on Kent State. And boy, that's one you don't come back from.
I would go to the parties if I was still in school right now.
You know, J.R. Smith, famously, right? The Cavs. That wasn't the year they won the championship, though. That was a couple seasons later, wasn't it?
That was the next year.
There you go.
That was, or maybe two.
It was game one. I think it was 2018.
Game one.
Yeah, it was game one. And he, like, dribbled it out to half court instead of shooting because he wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
You know.
It was. Oh.
Chris Webber, you know, my wife's family, they're all U of M fans. Chris Webber, the Fab Five back in the early 90s, you know, he called a timeout that the Wolverines didn't have and famously lost them the national championship game against North Carolina. And so this dude at Kent State joins those guys in the opposite of a clutch shot. In fact, Chris Webber's blunder was so bad, that they just fired Juwan Howard as the U of M basketball coach. That's where that bad blood has lasted so long. They said, get the hell out of here. And, you know, that Fab Five, that was the first team in NCAA history to compete in the championship game with all freshman starters. It was a big deal back. It was Chris Webber, it was Juwan Howard, Jalen Rose, a couple other dudes. But Juwan Howard has been the coach of U of M men's basketball, but they ended up with an 8-24 season, so they kicked him to the curb. But this dude for Kent State, boy, that just sucks. Sucks. Yeah. Imagine how many brain cells Cody killed watching all that garbage. Hey, if he wants to watch it, you know, let him watch it.
What, watching?
The TikTok lady, Reesa Teesa.
I watched it because it's something I don't normally watch, and I was like, "What?" I didn't understand what the big craze was.
Well, Tia's 314 in the blacklist. She goes, "You're way late with this."
I know.
Reesa Teesa is now verified and monetizing the whole thing.
That's what I'm saying. She signed to a big agency, and they're doing her story on Who the Bleep Did I Marry.
Yeah,
like it's going to be a legit show. But it was just funny because everyone's like discussing her, and she's like, well, I don't like to be judged. I'm like, bitch, no one makes 52 10-minute long TikToks and not want to have people hear about and talk about her story.
Right. If you had made 2, people would be giving you a hard time, let alone 52, right?
52.
Yeah.
I was looking at it, I'm like, how long have we been watching this? And we were like an hour and a half in, and it was like 4 hours left.
So it's like they're making a TV show out of a Twitter thread.
Out of a TikTok thread, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure when she has her TV show, or it'll be like dramatization, like her dramatized. So it'll have someone real skinny.
But her story is that her husband took her money?
It's more than that. She got pregnant by this dude. The dude was not who he says he was. She didn't do any background check on the dude. He lied about his family.
Billion other relationships.
But no, he lied about his name, lied about his family, gave her a different Social Security card, said that she was Social Security because they were supposed to buy a house, didn't buy the house, couldn't buy a car, lied about everything about this guy was a lie, allegedly.
And this kept you enthralled.
Yeah, because I was
52. As you describe it, 52.
I didn't finish it.
10-minute episodes. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I didn't finish all of it because we fell asleep. Like we started. I was having like a high noon, enjoying my evening, and they were like, "Do you know about Reesa Teesa?" I'm like,
it's
can't get over the name Reesa Teesa.
It's pronounced Reese's Pieces, guys, and it's a big deal around Halloween.
I love that. Tia was the one, and she's like, "If you want to melt your brain cells, listen." People find entertainment.
Well, no, she said you were the one that was way late. Somebody else just thought you were watching. But listen.
Oh, I was going to say Catfish is still on.
Garbage entertainment takes many forms, by the way. It's funny to me, though, how shows on like cable channels, or streamers. No, mostly cable channels, but how they're kind of quietly working expletives into the name of shows, right? Because there's Who the Bleep Did I Marry, but I think they use bleep or whatever. But there's a show on the cooking channel called F That's Delicious, and it's F*CK. I'm like, they're barely. I mean, they're not even like, it's not EF.
They're not being shy anymore.
No, that's the name of the show on the cooking channel. I love it. They had a show on network TV. I think it got canceled after one season, but it was called like Shrimp My Dad Says, right? It was a Twitter account that they turned into a TV show. And I mean, that was another one that was like SH*T. That's great. Yeah, well, okay. Let Poundcake watch what he wants to watch.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that there's people out there like that.
You enjoy that there's somebody out there telling their story, or somebody got screwed over like that?
Screwed over like that.
You enjoy that someone got screwed over like that?
Because there's a certain level of low self-esteem and gullibility.
Okay. I mean, that makes you happy.
Yes, because this wasn't everyone dates duds. Like, I'm sure I dated a bunch of liars. Like, that's not interesting to me. The fact that you got to the point where you married this dude, had a baby, like got pregnant by this dude. You never met his family. You don't know, where he lives or any backstory. You took it at face value that he was telling you the truth, and you married this dude.
Well, it sounds like there was a bunch of signs before they even got married, and she just kept going, nah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what's annoying.
She talks about the red flags, and she's like, again, I ignored this red flag, but I'm just going to tell you all the truth. I'm like, but okay, so you can't judge us for judging you because
you knew better.
Yeah,
you just ignored it.
She was like, I moved him into my house because she was like, I married him because I moved him into my house, and I'm a Christian woman, so I didn't want to just shack up. I'm like, but you were having sex with the dude before you even moved him in, so that's all. You're double sinning.
Well, she's a Christian woman, she said. Gullibility is considered a negative trait in every aspect of life except religion. Then it's considered, it's fundamental to religion is gullibility. But that's considered, if you call someone gullible, that's not a compliment, right?
No.
But in religion, boy, you better have it.
Sure.
And apparently that's what she did.
Well,
she brought him in and then had a kid.
I can't even be mad at her because she's getting paid. Might as well monetize this if this happened to you and you're okay with telling the world about this.
Well, especially since that kind of fame is so fleeting. Like, in 6 months, nobody's going to care what's going on. So, like, you have to, I guess, get your bag while you can. But Reesa Teesa, okay. Well, everybody's giving you a hard time for being late. I had never heard of her until you just mentioned her.
3.7 million TikTok followers. And 41.6 million likes.
Yeah.
Well, good for her.
Well, yeah. I mean, those are the people who are flipping their shrimp over the possibility of TikTok being banned, which, let's be real, it's not going to get banned. No. But, those people are freaking out. If that's your livelihood, whether it's silly or not, because for all the garbage on TikTok, there's a lot of interesting content on TikTok. There's scientists and there's cooks and there's,
and cleaning out drains.
Yeah.
Washing rugs.
Yeah. Oh, so satisfying.
It is.
Look at me unplug this hair out of this clog or whatever.
No, I like the ones where it's like a drain, like a street drain, or where they'll drag the tire through the culvert.
Oh yeah.
And all the mud that gets stuck in there comes flying out.
Okay.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
I will say it was cracking me up because while I was watching this girl's story, this bitch was just like driving. She like lives in Atlanta. She was like driving for like 4 or 5 TikTok stories. I'm like, where is this bitch going? Like, I'm not that thorough while I'm driving. I'm focusing on the road. She's like looking at the camera, giving dramatics, and she's just like, I don't even understand. I'm like, where? She ain't turned once. She ain't had a turn signal. She was just driving in a straight line for 2 or 3 hours.
That's probably what she did.
I'm like, I know Atlanta got traffic, but damn.
Maybe she was driving up to Stone Mountain. Maybe it was one straight shot.
I don't know where she was going.
Wow.
But she was going to get paid.
So how many have you watched? You said not all 52.
I don't know.
Who are you hanging out with again?
No, just a couple girlfriends.
Okay.
And you were watching it on your television? Like
Yeah, it was. The story is on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
So we didn't watch it on TikTok per se, but we casted it to
Mhm.
TV. But God, I don't know. We got up to maybe 10 out of 52.
And
so
you
not a lot.
you are contributing to her monetization.
Sure.
Yeah.
She's telling her story. It was a very entertaining story, but what gets me is the fact that if she's lying about it or if this is a bit, it's a good bit because it's hard for me to believe. Just like how Catfish is still on, I can't believe that there's still people out there that gullible. I have to think that
people are lonely and gullible.
I can't
Believe what they
that.
want to believe.
And they go, it's not going to. I know it happens to people, but it's not happening to me. Drea wants to know why they would cast a skinny person to play her.
Because I feel like people, that's what they do. It's Hollywood. And it's just like when they did the Missy Elliott or the Aaliyah biopic and they cast Missy Elliott. It was like a small girl with a little itty bitty like waves in her hair. So I don't know.
No, I think you're right because I know there's a lot of movies that are based on true stories, and
I'm like, you ain't showing her as plump.
You want to?
I mean, Retta is funny. She still works. Get her to play her.
Who?
Retta
Who's that?
from Parks and Rec. She's a comic. She does a show called Ugliest Houses in America that is awesome.
What is that on?
It's on the Travel Channel, I think, or Discovery. It's called Ugliest Houses in America.
That sounds fun.
It's a lot of fun, and Retta is hilarious.
I love her.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna.